Jill is a leader, a speaker, an advisor in the world of big pharma, and she is helping to bring to light a lot of the amazing leadership, commitment, and noble intention there that, of course, we're just not hearing enough of because there is this other narrative about big pharma. And one of the stories that she tells is so wonderfully applied to all of our working lives. Can you share the story of Johnny Johnson with us?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. People will say, well, I don't have a purpose. My role, I don't touch the patient in my job, or other roles out there. Oh, I don't see the big picture here. Or people will say, well, my leader doesn't, they're not connected to purpose or why. And I'll say, well, I want to share with you a story about Johnny Johnson. So I met Johnny Johnson when I was on the shuttle bus in the airport in Phoenix, and he drove the bus in a circle all day long. So you might think, oh, he doesn't have much purpose in his role, and you'd be wrong. So what happened when we got on that bus was his voice boomed over the loudspeaker, "Welcome to my bus. It is my privilege and pleasure to serve such an elite group of people." And we all kind of look, right? Like normally subdued passengers kind of, what's going on, smiling. And he said, no, seriously, you guys are the ones who, not only had a dream of a trip, you made it happen. By the end of this short shuttle bus, he had us all smiling. And I got off the bus and I said, Johnny, where does this great energy come from? And he had this beautiful smile and he said, well, I had a choice. I came to this country with my master's degree from my home country. And I had a choice of what my day was going to look like. I chose to find meaning in my work. My role is to make people smile. Right? He found how he could contribute, how he could help others in that role. His job was to make people smile. I said, well, you're sure doing that in spades. And I said, curious, you go home with this great smile on your face. Do you make more money than the other guys too? And he said, well, I make about $100 a day. And I said, well, what do the other guys do? 40. So he more than doubled his tips. And then he added, one day on my birthday, I made 500. I was like, oh my gosh. And then, the mic drop moment, he said, but, people are smart. It has to come from here. And he put his hand on his heart. And I was like, okay, there's my whole workshop right there, right? It's about authenticness, being authentically connected to your purpose. So there he is, going home with a smile on his face, making more money, feeling good that he's living a job with purpose, and he's driving a shuttle bus, right?
I think
And
we all
you've
could
met
tell
these
stories.
people. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes. We could
Right?
all tell stories. I remember a TSA guy that was just like that years
Exactly.
ago. One of the last times I ever flew before Thanksgiving from Vermont back to Illinois. That was a nightmare. But there was this guy in the TSA line, one of the TSA guys, who was like a stand-up comedian mixed with your, second grade teacher, mixed with,
Oh,
some endearing,
wow.
neighbor that was just helpful in every possible way. He was amazing.
A
And
unicorn.
he was a unicorn. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
I call them the joyful ones. He was definitely the joyful
Yes.
ones.
And
So okay, so these are two: the Johnny Johnson story and my TSA agent guy. You
yeah.
know, they're two great stories about like we can't blame the fact that we're not working with joy or purpose on the fact that our leaders may not be doing it. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
organizations might be
Oh,
not great at walking their talk, right? But there are pockets in all organizations that are just extraordinary.
yeah. Well, in fact, with the Johnny Johnson, we had a really negative experience with his manager back where we dropped off the rental car.
Oh yeah.
So, in spite of his poor leader, he chose to do this himself. And I say that to people. Yes, of course, it's ideal when this purpose starts with the leadership and trickles down. But you can choose that in your own life, in your own world, to focus on how you're serving, how you're helping people, how you're making a difference for someone in your role. You can choose to do that.